Hello, thank you so much for joining me again today. Today we're going to look at some traditional Pilates exercises that are adapted from our chair. Okay, so quite often people with chronic illnesses, including MCAS, EDS, POTS, find it's very difficult to get into exercise and they find then that their bodies become quite deconditioned. So things like pain, fear of moving, fear of making your symptoms worse can often put people off wanting to exercise. So using a chair is a fantastic option for you. So we're going to adapt these traditional Pilates moves for you in a safe way where you feel supported. And using a chair often counteracts any of the issues that you may experience when you are exercising, such as if you struggle with your balance or if you feel dizzy, or if just standing for long periods of time is challenging for you. So we're going to work on using these moves to really work on strengthening the core and moving with control. Okay, so we're going to start with our alignment. So bring your bottoms towards the front of the chair. That's it, and make sure you've got plenty of buttocks on the chair as well so you don't suddenly plop off. And we're going to bring our knees in front of our hips and align the heels underneath your knees. And starting with some very gentle pelvic tilts, tilting the pubic bone down towards the toes and then up towards the nose. Just starting to mobilise the pelvis and the spine. We're not going to do too many of these, but you can pause this video and continue with these if they're feeling good. And then bring your pelvis somewhere in the middle and we're going to circle the shoulders. Just being mindful not to make these moves giant. Keep them small and controlled. And then relax your shoulders away from your ears, opening up the chest but without impacting the rest of your spine. So your chest is nice and open but the spine is still in a general neutral position. And we're going to draw a figure of 8 with our noses. So this figure of 8 is on its side, lying flat. And being sure to keep these moves small and not hanging your head backwards, and keep the back of your neck nice and long as well. Okay, and coming back towards me. Right, cat and cow. So we're going to start, if I go sideways on so you can see what my back is doing, with a cat. So imagine an angry cat that's arching its spine. And then imagine a cow that's got really heavy udders hanging downwards. So you're arching your spine and then you're letting everything hang out in front of you. Now notice I'm not extending my neck. So you could look upwards as long as you keep the back of your neck nice and long and you're not hanging your head backwards. Well done. So that's a flexion of your spine and an extension. Okay, so moving on, we're going to do a very traditional Pilates exercise. This is where Joseph Pilates would have had you with your feet together and your feet flexed, and you'd be sitting really tall. Your arms would be out and you'd be sitting on a floor, but we've got a chair, and be rotating and going, breathing in, breathing in. But as you know, I like to adapt things. So we're going to keep our knees bent and our feet solidly on the floor. If you find bringing your arms out is challenging for you, you could cross your arms over the chest and you could rotate and keep it smooth and slow. And double check that you're keeping your buttocks still on the chair, so you're not kind of pushing on the legs to push even further. It's all the spine and not the legs getting involved here. And this one neatly moves into another traditional Pilates move with the legs slightly wide, reaching towards the opposite knee and forward flexing, and then swapping sides. So this is an adaptation of the saw. You could make it bigger and reach the hand behind you like a baton as you reach, all at the same time as just keeping your belly button a little bit lifted as you're doing these. And if they're feeling good, feel free to continue. Once again, just double check that you're looking after your spine. So if you've got osteoarthritis, osteoporosis, you can keep the moves much smaller and rotate and return. So you're still getting that movement, but you're looking after your backs. Okay, spine stretch forward. So this is where you imagine you're being hugged from behind. So your belly button goes back, your arms are on, say, a shelf, and they reach forward, and you're giving your spine a nice stretch and then returning back upwards. So we're going to do a few variations on these ones. Once again, you could cross over your chest and do the same again where your tummy goes backwards and you're curving yourself gently forward. That's it, making sure you're breathing as you do these. And then we're going to do slightly different, where we're going to curve back. This is like a good morning roll up. So we're curving back, and then we're going to curve forward and down, and then restack the vertebra, one at a time, lifting the arms, curving back, curving forward, and restack the vertebra. If you want to add on another layer with this one, you could extend the spine and lift the chest to the sky, and then curve back, curving forward, and extending upwards. And as I've mentioned before, if these are feeling good, you could pause this recording and continue, and then join again. But we do tend to keep things quite small, so we don't tend to do too many. And I'm going to show you one final traditional Pilates move today called the teaser. So the traditional teaser would be, you'd be sitting on the floor, your arms would be up at a diagonal, your spine would be neutral, and you'd be basically in this position, and you move in and out of that position. It's even got me a bit breathless. It's hard. So we're going to do our adapted version, which is where our spine is tall, and we're going to hinge back and then lift a leg to a diagonal and return. And you could even lift your arms up a little bit as well. So everything's going up to a diagonal. There we go, and one more. Well done, and return, and roll those shoulders. Okay, so that's a little introduction into some traditional Pilates moves, doing them from the comfort of your chair. Okay, so as we always end our classes, we're going to end them lifting our arms to the height that's available to you, breathing in, and exhale, press the hands down past your chest, and place one hand on your heart and one on your belly, and bring gratitude for your body, or to your body, for bringing you to this class. Well done.